everyone. Welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candice Marie. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to be discussing the new moon in Leo and everything that it's going to be bringing. If you stay tuned, we're going to talk about how it's going to affect each and every one of the 12 signs after I give my lecture on all of the aspects. If you're new to my channel, do me a favor and hit the subscription button below, and you'll be alerted as to when we're coming out with new content on the channel. We're putting out videos every couple of days. And those of you guys who are already subscribers and members, thank you very much for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. So yeah, new moon in Leo, guys, we have got probably one of the more optimistic and positive new moons for the rest of 2022. So I really encourage you to work with this energy, because from here on out, the energy is just going to continue to build. End of July all the way through August is going to be some of the most life-changing transits for everyone. All right, so new moons, right? We have a new moon every month. It's about planting a new seed, setting new intentions. So it's a wonderful time to be having fresh starts, setting intentions in regards to what you want to be changing, what you're working towards. And we will see in 2 weeks' time that there will be a full moon in Aquarius. Now, it can sometimes take new moons about 6 months to fully unfold. So it won't be really showing us what's coming until closer to February of 2023. Now, this new moon is going to be taking place in the sign of Leo, and Leo is a fixed fire sign. So it's active. Leo is ruled by the sun, so it's very solar. So it's kind of unusual when we see a new moon in Leo, because the moon usually is the star of the show. But because it's in Leo, we look at the moon and the sun together. Now, new moons always conjunct the sun, but in this case, because it is ruled by Leo, we're going to be really focusing on some of the solar aspects. And the sun and the moon represent consciousness and subconsciousness working in unison. So emotions and also actions are fused together, and it's very what you see is what you get. Now, Leo, right? Very proud, romantic, creative. It's about our heart's desires. It's also about having fun, taking chances, gambling, right? Anything that can be more speculative. It also rules artists, performers, children, hobbies, and self-employment. This whole like new moon cycle reminds me of that song by Roxette, like Listen to Your Heart. As cheesy as it sounds, I feel like that's going to be a reoccurring theme as we look at this lunation. Now, because the moon is literally fused or kind of like in the heart of the sun, this is a moment where we may have an intense desire to express ourselves in some way. Being that the sun and the moon are both in a masculine sign, it's going to be very action-oriented, it's going to be very loud, very proud. And generally the sun and the moon are masculine and feminine counterparts. So it could literally signify people coming together in a very visible, creative, or romantic way, especially because this new moon is going to be at 5 degrees of Leo, which, if you're looking at it from a degree standpoint, is about Leo-related energy. So it's going to amplify that. I would say for most of you guys who are watching this, the days surrounding the new moon are going to be really important for setting new intentions revolving around what makes you joyful, what brings you a sense of pride, what you're creating, and just having more fun and having more romance in your life. Now, this new moon is extremely positive. It's extremely generous because we're also going to be seeing aspects to Jupiter. So it's warm and ripe with the opportunity to grow on a very personal level. It's also a very important moon to set intentions, and we want to be preparing because the full moon counterpart that's going to be taking place in August, it'll be on August 11th in Aquarius, will highlight a lot of Saturn themes. So this new moon is very solar. It's also got that touch and kisses kind of coming from a trine from Jupiter. So it's expansive, it's optimistic. In 2 weeks' time, we're going to see that full moon in Aquarius, which is going to be conjunct Saturn, which is having to make difficult decisions, sacrifices. We're going to feel a little bit more blocked. And we'll also be dealing with karmic manifestations and just more serious commitments in general. I think personally, the Leo new moon is highlighting right now where we are at in society. We don't see a lot of people who are able to feel like they can share joy or that they can be sharing their own personal talents or accomplishments. So it's really important to be looking at what are you creating, what are you designing, what are you loving, what are you doing in terms of hobbies, and how can we really nurture more of that. Now, the Leo new moon is going to take place wherever Leo is in your chart. So you don't have to be a Leo to benefit from this. You just want to take a look at where this is going to be taking place in your own natal horoscope. So find the house that Leo rules. And I also feel like we're on the precipice pretty soon. It's going to be next spring, of moving into Pluto and Aquarius. Those themes, right, are going to be very polar to this energy, where Leo represents the individual, Aquarius represents groups. So because we're on the precipice of Pluto and Aquarius, this is going to challenge artists, performers, and also our heart's desires. It takes the spotlight off of youth and romance, and it puts the focus on group control. So something that you're gonna notice over the next month is anything that's coming up that's limiting you and not really allowing you to go deeper into something that you're really passionate about. In my opinion, it's up to Taurus and also Leo to preserve a lot of these themes, because we're seeing lots of connections, not just in Leo, but to squares with Taurus, and we're also seeing squares to Saturn in Aquarius. So we're going to be challenged to kind of step up to the plate and really focus on when it comes to what we really love doing. I feel like Taurus and Leo are going to preserve this for us. They're reminding us how important culture is, and how important love and children are, and the fact that these themes really keep us grounded in our life, and they keep us human, right? So we've been living in a state of fear and panic. There's been an extent of feeling like we can't share good things, that we're holding back from sharing good things just because of the state of the world and where we're at right now. So Leo encourages us to take center stage in our own lives, and it kind of pushes out of the bounds of where we've been feeling restricted, and we've become accustomed to being told, don't stand out, don't be too loud, don't be too bright, don't be too proud. There's generally been this overall sense of kind of dimming from what I've noticed, especially for actors, performers, artists, etc. And we've seen the loss of a lot of good culture. We haven't been able to participate in some concert events, theater performances, and other things due to the pandemic. So in a way, we've kind of lost our way when it comes to having playtime, enjoying time with our children, and perhaps even focusing more on some of our own personal hobbies. Now, Leo does rule anything in regards to self-employment. So I think we're also going to see a lot of people shifting and looking at, is that a possibility for me? Can I take a side hustle or a hobby all the way and start working for myself? And how can I be more self-sustainable while enjoying doing what I'm doing for a living? So this is a fresh start for some of you guys who would like to do that. The full moon is going to literally turn the light back on. Excuse me, the new moon is literally going to turn the light back on in our lives, and more importantly, in our hearts, and encourage us to tend and develop to our own personal love affairs, whatever that may be. For some, it's a hobbies. Other, it's going to be personal projects, and like I said, your own businesses. This moon teaches us not to close our heart off to love or to our own inner child, okay? So that's the overall kind of theme. I want to read to you guys the Sabian symbol, okay? So this is my Sabian symbol book. A lot of people are always asking me, what am I reading? Check out my Amazon link below. You can see a whole book and tarot list of recommendations and things that I work with on the channel. And with the Sabian symbols, we want to round up. So we're actually going to be reading Leo 6, okay, not 5, because it's going to be 5 degrees and change. If you have this book, it's page 156 that I'm going to be reading from. Leo 6, an old-fashioned woman and an up-to-date girl. The keyword is contrast. The theme is something old, something new, something shared. The symbol speaks to the function and purpose of role play in the everyday world. The image of an old-fashioned woman and an up-to-date girl dramatizes opposites, and it emphasizes the importance of learning to cooperate and look at life from the reverse or flip side of things. Here, conservatism, maturity, tradition, and established values of the past are contrasts with liberalism, youth, innovation, and formative values. The implication of compelling impulses to both stand still and move forward, the Mars-Saturn effect, provides the stimulus for each to look beyond the surface and find common ground to which they can come together in mutual appreciation of what each side has to offer. The positive at its highest represents accomplishment through cooperation, creative use of opinions, and values of others. So really, the challenge is on finding ways to preserve these things and kind of find a middle ground for the future. Your greatest advantage lies in being sensitive to the feelings and needs of those who may be in conflict. focus on common shared goals, ideas, and find a way to cooperate. I like that it talks about like role play and stuff, because that's very like Leo, like dressing up, playing the part, being a character. But it's talking about contrast, right? And what it means to do something that's more traditional versus kind of pushing the envelope and kind of standing out a little bit and being a little bit more loud and proud. It mentioned the Mars-Saturn aspect, which is interesting because we are going to be seeing in the week ahead or so, Mars in Taurus will come into a square with Saturn. So there's going to be this sense of, what do I really, really want to do when it comes to finding like purposeful work or building towards something that is more beautiful or something that is going to be more practical? Like, what am I investing my time or my money or my resources in? And as it squares Saturn, it comes into a challenge with what the group mind says or what politics say or what have you. So the kind of bottom line is that it's going to be challenged. Whatever it is that you're wanting to invest more of your time or your energy into, we're going to see in this next month that we're going to have to make sacrifices. We're going to have to take a step back. And it's important to keep in mind other points of view and try to find that middle ground, right? So this new moon in Leo, it's coming in on Friday, July 28th, 2022, and that's going to be at 10:55 a.m. Pacific, 1:55 p.m. Eastern. Obviously, we have people watching from all over the world, so you want to adjust your time zones accordingly. Let's talk about the aspects in this moon because it is very, very active. I have like a long list of things to kind of move through. Starting with the fact that, yes, the sun and the moon, they come together in a conjunction at 5 degrees of Leo. So it's a fresh new start in regards to some of these themes. At a 5, it's just amplifying that romantic, kind of creative, fun, spontaneous energy that you see from Leo. The sun and the moon will form a trine to Jupiter in Aries, and that's really what I like about this moon. You'll see it in the days to follow because it'll be about maybe like a 5-day period as then the sun comes into a trine with Jupiter. Like I said, it's going to feel like turning the light on. So it's going to be like an aha moment that's like, this makes me really, really, really happy. I really enjoy doing this. I enjoy putting on a show. I enjoy really nurturing my natural talents, and it really wants to shine. So it's going to be very positive the days to follow, even in the midst of some of the more challenging conjunctions and squares that we're going to see. Now, Jupiter in Aries, first of all, Jupiter is really strong, guys, because Jupiter's sitting at 8 degrees. It's getting ready to retrograde, which means it's stationing, essentially. It's been slowing down. It will not go to 9 degrees. When a planet is stationing, it is most powerful. So Jupiter being in an 8, which is about transformation, fusion, right? Coming together with other people, really uncovering something that might be like a little bit more mysterious or it might be a little bit more taboo, is telling me that this is a moment in time, depending on if you work with this new moon, that you can actually have a total transformation of the heart, of your belief system. Jupiter deals a lot with belief. And it's really going to bring a lot of like good luck, positive karma, personal fulfillment. Jupiter in Aries it's about courageous leadership. It's also going to be very strongly tied to anything that's entrepreneurial. And here with Jupiter in Aries, we take the necessary steps to do what is that we've always dreamed of. So we're coming off of also in this most recent week, Mercury has been in Leo and it's been in a trine to Jupiter. So likely we've been really bold with our thoughts and our ideas. We're following our own personal code of ethics and we've been living it and we've been talking about it. So Mercury has been leading up, right, and making these trines over the weekend. As I'm filming this, let's see. Gonna see what today is, you know, from the 22nd through maybe like, let's say the 25th, just coming up to this moon that we're like, what if we do this? This is a bright idea. Now, obviously trines, especially involving Jupiter, can kind of blow something up. So these fire trines involving Jupiter and also Mercury are big ideas. They're very boastful, they're loud. Fire signs get a bad rap, I think, for sometimes being selfish or for being a little bit too impulsive. But I feel like these events that are taking place just after the new moon are putting that into action. So we're saying, okay, we've talked about it, now we're going to do it. So, you know, the show is going to start to begin. And coming off of this trine, I really feel like it's important to be aligning our thoughts and our ideas and our actions. So we have to walk the walk and talk the talk. Now, Mercury in Leo is forming a square to the nodes of the moon. So you notice that we have the north node in Taurus, we have the south node in Scorpio, and as Mercury is forming that square at 18 degrees, it's almost as if we're in a situation right now where we need to integrate information, have conversations, share, do business. It's going to feel like a bit of a crossroads. And Mercury in Leo is very proud, right? It's somebody who doesn't have a problem saying what's on their mind. They are very noticeable in terms of their tone. They can also have a tendency to just sometimes dominate the conversation. So there can be this need to kind of speak up, right? So when planets square the nodes, we have to integrate that planet's lesson. And when I look at the ruler of Mercury, right, it's Leo, it's bringing it back to the moon. So literally the couple days after the new moon, as the moon conjuncts Mercury, squares the nodes, as we start to see the sun come into a trine with Jupiter, we break out of something and go, this is what I believe in, this is what I love. But it's going to feel like a little bit of like a being at a crossroads of sorts. Now, this tug of war, right, we're also seeing because Mercury is in a square to Mars and Uranus in Taurus. The easiest way I can break this down for you is like a feeling of like a tug of war, because there's squares to Taurus, which represents values, possessions, money, security, material goods. And Mercury in Leo is what we would rather be doing. Having fun, our own selfish needs, kind of doing things that are more so for our own personal pleasure. I can give you a couple examples. It's like, think of trying to save money, but feeling like you want to call out of work and go to a theme park. It's like, I really should be showing up and getting my work done, but this looks like more fun. So this is going to be a very dominating energy as we see all these planets go through Leo, and we're going to keep hearing, lots of conversations coming from our own inner child or from our hearts that's telling us like, yeah, this is more fun. For some of us, it might be things like, are we eating at home, or are we, focusing on going out to dinner and, running up a tab and having a fancy meal. It could be wanting to stay at home and being a little bit more grounded and practical versus somebody who says, come on, let's go out to, a theme park, or let's have a date. But I think it's really going to be bringing up this theme of, are we saving money, focusing on stability, or are we allowing ourselves a little bit of leeway and saying, you know what, I'm actually going to go and have a good time? For some people, it might be saying, I'm reevaluating what it means to have a good time. I realize that security and stability is important, but by the same token, all work and no play can make us very dull. So Leo is going to keep teaching us, yes, go and buy, the paints and paint. Go to the movie, buy the ticket, buy the concert tickets. There is this impulsiveness that's going to come through that's saying like, no, we have to do something that's more fun. And the sun is conscious actions, and it's challenging our values when it's making squares to Taurus. Now, Mercury square the nodes with Mars and Uranus. It feels very staticky, like our minds are on fire and our passions are very strong. We may not always get along with other people because Mercury will be in a square to both Uranus and Mars, and there can be just prepped and primed for, arguments. Our own personal needs are highlighted, and it's likely that it's going to differ from other people, and there's going to be a wide range of opinions on what it means to be wealthy, what it means to be stable, what it means to have a rich life. And I think a lot of people are realizing that health, happiness, our ability to have healthy relationships, our ability to be able to spend time with our kids, sometimes will trump that need to just work, right? This is being highlighted in the world. A lot of people are feeling the economic pinches of having to make really difficult sacrifices and decisions when it comes to our happiness, when it comes to our children. Now, Mercury is building into an opposition with Saturn, and that will be taking place on the 30th. So I just want you guys to know that in the background, a couple days after this new moon, as we see Mercury form this opposition with Saturn in the sky, here we're going to face delays, roadblocks, mental or physically limiting conditions. Now, we may struggle with our own selfish desires and feel blocked off from other people. I see this as making personal creative choices to prioritize those things. So it's like we're going to go, this is what my friends want to do, but this is really what I want to do. This is what, the world at large is telling us we have to be kind of believing, but this is what my heart is telling me. So we're going to feel thwarted in some way or delayed due to Saturn, and that can bring some difficult conversations. That can be things like, hey, you know what, I really don't feel like I'm in alignment with this job, or, you know, I don't really feel like we're having a really healthy relationship or a friendship, and having to kind of deliver some difficult news. Now, during this new moon, Mercury in Leo will also trine Chiron in Aries. So keep in mind, it's a fire trine. Trines will be free-flowing energy. So when you take Mercury, which is the mind, and it's very communicative because it's in Leo, and it trines Chiron in Aries, we're going to find that we're more likely to express our hurt or our pain, feelings of kind of like being the Lone Ranger. However, this can be really kind of changed and transformed into something positive. And I feel like we can share our past struggles or challenges with other people, and we can funnel that into something that's more positive, or possibly even performance or art. So Chiron's going to be communicating with Mercury, basically. We've got Uranus conjunct the North Node. That is like the big thing that's really happening with this new moon. Obviously, you know, the future is going to be very different. We see lots of changes ahead, especially energetically, financially, and with our values or with our food. Stability is going to definitely be a big topic. Perhaps changes in self-esteem. We're on the fast track for this next month for some real pivotal changes in our physical 3D world. So it's going to differ from person to person, but just know that when we have planets touching the nodes, it's saying this is happening for our future growth. When we have planets square the nodes, it's basically saying you have to integrate that to be able to make the change. So likely many people are realizing, I actually need more. I need more money. I need more support. I need more stability. They're going to have to make those difficult decisions and have those conversations in the month ahead. More on that. I've done videos on that. I did one with a fellow astrologer on my channel. If you guys saw 111, I also talked about what it might bring for the world. I've done a series of shorter videos, and I also did a webinar. So I did a 3-hour webinar talking about this. So if you'd like to get that webinar, it's recorded. You can find it on my website. I'll put the link below. Lots of really great information and a PDF that's going to come with a whole list of dates of when this conjunction becomes reactivated. Now, it's kind of similar to like an eclipse energy, just that North Node Uranus that will play out over time. But it's peaking really from the 28th through about mid-August. And I'll do another touch-up video in this next week, just as a reminder for everybody that that's happening. But that's a really, really big aspect in my opinion, especially because the nodes are the nodes of the moon, right? So in this particular lunation, it's a new moon. So it's really important to be looking at those nodes. And as we get deeper into August, we're going to see right in the beginning of August, Mars, Uranus, and the North Node are going to conjunct. All right. So yeah, July 31st, the conjunction happens, and then August 1st through August 3rd, Mars joins the group and blasts through things, through roadblocks and all kinds of other things that we could never imagine. Now, Venus is in Cancer, and it's in a sextile to Mars and Taurus. They'll continue to sextile until about August 7th, so they'll move very closely together. Sextiles are really positive energy, but you got to do the work to be able to receive the reward. So Mars is actually moving forward, trying to cut, sever, push forward for things to appease Venus. It's a really nice aspect. They're supporting one another, and Venus opens up while Mars is more so the action and the drive. And being that they're in Taurus and Cancer, it's going to be about resources and home and family. Now, Venus is also in a slight square to Jupiter, which is bringing the theme of overindulgence. So Venus in Cancer, square Jupiter in Aries. We feel like this overindulgence, big feelings, big emotions. We could overdo it a little bit, overexpend. Watch for that, guys. That's definitely something that's going on in the background. And the sun and moon, this is like one of the lesser kind of aspects, but it's still here. The sun and moon is in an 8-degree opposition to Pluto in Capricorn. So let's roll back a little bit. Let's think about it. What's been happening with the aspects to Pluto over this last month? We continue to break away from this phase that we've been working through really since about July 18th, where both the Sun and Mercury in Cancer made oppositions to Pluto, and then we had that cazimi that was going on, bringing up themes of breaking away from fear, power struggles, Yes, it's fading, okay, but still it's within a 10-degree orb of opposition and it's in another sign. So when we look at Capricorn, which is going to be about legacy, power, control, people who are in power, and then Leo, which is the individual, we're still feeling this sense of the individual feeling like it wants to break out of that. And it's fading. I think the Leo new moon is picking up where Cancer season left off. Sometimes Cancer knows something and they can be too overly cautious or fearful to actually make those changes. And Leo is not going to do that. Leo is not going to do that. It shows up and it's loud. So the best way that I can express this is that Cancer is like the pregnancy. It's the nurturing phase. It's the protector. It's everything pre-birth that's in the womb, right? So it's really safe and secure. It is not exposed to the world yet, and it's very connected. So it can have this fear of coming out, doing anything out of the house, or anything that's going to kind of disrupt its emotional security. Leo is the actual birth, right? So whether it's the birth of the child, the project, the script, the relationship, Leo is so completely different. It's very solar compared to Cancer, which is very, very lunar. So when we think about when children are born, right, there's generally like this roar when a kid is born, but it's the cry, right? So the baby has the cry. We know that that is what everybody's looking for when a child is born. It's how we know the child is breathing, healthy, alive, and has a heartbeat. So we're going to feel this energy very strongly during this Leo new moon because I feel like this is the birth of something that's going to bring, similar to when a baby is born, an extreme sense of pride. Everybody unites and they're very joyous over this little creature. So Leo season is that due date, right? So it's something that's getting ready to come into this world. And it's the birth that we've always wanted. While there are challenges, I kind of feel like come hell or high water, we're likely to do the things, make the changes, make the sacrifices, rearrange the finances, and everything to make it possible for this to come to life, even though there are going to be challenges in this next month. This is one of the most positive new moons for the rest of the year, guys. I looked at the new moons throughout the rest of 2022. We're going to have the Sag new moon, which is going to be at the end of November, which will also trine Jupiter. But by then, Jupiter will have retrograded back into Pisces and Jupiter will be retrograde. So this time, Jupiter's direct and Jupiter's in a fire sign and Jupiter is stationing. So it's very powerful. So if you're wanting to set positive intentions for more abundance, more happiness, more health, better relationships, more joy, this is the moon that you want to do that with. I went a little bit further and I looked down the line 6 months from now when this new moon fully blossoms into a full moon, which will be in early February of 2023. The full moon will square Uranus and Taurus almost exactly, and Uranus will be on the sun-moon midpoint, meaning you're going to have to take this leap of faith anyways. You can do it the easy way or you can do it the hard way. I prefer doing it the easy way. I would say, you know what, there's challenges, but this is life. It's challenging. There's always something that's coming, but we can be optimistic about really rising to the occasion and seeing that there's like a lot of room for personal growth through some of these new experiences that we're going to be having. So when we have the full moon that's going to be in Leo in February of 23, I feel like it can be more challenging to adapt to that. It might be things that we already knew were coming. So work with this new moon. I think it's really saying that the physical and financial liberation is coming. It's built upon your faith, your beliefs, and your ability to listen to what your heart is saying right now. All right. So let's take a look at what the predictions are for the tarot for each and every one of the 12 signs. Obviously, this is going to be affecting 4 to 6 degrees of Leo the most. This is where you're getting a fresh start. So if you're a sun, moon, and rising, fresh start there for you. If it's on a personal planet in Leo within these degrees, it's going to be kind of a restart for that personal planet. Those who are going to benefit the most will be 4 to 6 degrees of the fire sign, sun, moon, and rising. So that'll be Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Who's going to feel the intensity the most? That's going to be 4 to 6 degrees of the fixed sign. So that's going to be Taurus. That's going to be Leo, although it's good for you, Leo, Scorpio, as well as Aquarius, because you will be experiencing squares. And 4 to 6 degrees of the air signs will experience opportunity because you're going to see sextiles or some kind of aspect like that, except for Aquarius, which means you got to kind of work with it. You got to use the element of air to communicate, share ideas, to be able to put actions into action, right? Air fuels fire. So it's positive. But I think for everybody, it's very, very, very good. This moon is, I'm very much looking forward to see what's going to happen. So this is going to be predictions for all 12 signs. I am a Western astrologer. This is going to be whole sign tropical astrology. So listen for your whole sign. You're going to make the most of my predictions by listening to the ascendant sign, followed by your sun and then your moon. The ascendant is literally where in your life it's taking place. The sun relates more so to the ego, your career, or your own personal desires. And the moon is like your relationships, your family, your home life dynamics. All right. So I'm going to be telling you which house you're having this new moon in. So that's where this fresh start is taking place. I'm also going to tell you where the trine to Jupiter and Aries is taking place, and you're receiving some kind of support in some way. And you want to be looking to that area of your chart as well for where there is new blessings. And I think, honestly, a lot of strength with that stationing Jupiter that's taking place. All right. So let's start first with Aries and Aries rising. What's up, guys? So a lot of what I've been saying applies to you. You're like, yeah, I know. The new moon in Aries, the new moon in Leo, is taking place in your 5th house. And your 5th house obviously deals with joy, creativity, children, anything in regards to gambling, romance, taking chances. And it's in a trine to Jupiter that's in your 1st house. So this is super positive. It's all about your outlook, Aries. It's really about your belief system and what you're believing is possible, what you've been praying for, what you've been preaching. And it's really time to let your optimism shine. Enjoy yourself, be authentic. You're going to see younger people are coming into your life, or new romantic partners, new playmates are coming into your life. And it's really expanding your ability to focus on what your heart wants. Now, yes, you're going to have to make some difficult decisions, obviously, in the next month, and a lot of it is going to be reliant on either your resources or your self-esteem. But for the most part, I feel like this is a time where if you're looking to focus on self-employment, if you're looking to have a fresh start in your love life, if you want to spend more time with your kids, if you want to practice a new hobby, this is the time to set those intentions. I know you're very curious with Jupiter in your sign. The card that I get is the Siren. Now in this deck, this is all about the devil. So I think it's talking about Saturn, and it's basically saying, where are you feeling restricted? Where are you feeling limited? It's also talking about being careful, not falling into traps where you're becoming like addicted to something, or you're super stuck in something. So it could be that you feel limitations in some way, like you don't know how to have fun. You don't know how to focus more on yourself, or you're feeling like you're stretched a bit thin and you don't have the time to do this. I think for you, Aries, it's talking a lot about what's going on with the Saturn opposition. So you're going to see this come full circle for you closer to the full moon that will be taking place in Aquarius in 2 weeks' time. Watch for the traps, right? And it can be also like you're really lured by a new romantic partner, or you're kind of feeling like you want to take a chance and invest in something and do something risky. Be careful here, because I think with the squares to the Taurus placements in your 2nd and the oppositions to Saturn, you can take a risk, but it can be something that can not necessarily pay off immediately. So be careful when it comes to like gambling, right? For Taurus and Taurus risings, you have got this new moon in Leo taking place in your natal 4th house, which rules your home, your family, your roots, your domestic zone, property stuff, things like that. So if you guys are looking for a new home, if you're wanting to move, if you're wanting to sell a place, if you're wanting to sign a lease, anything like that, super positive for you. It's going to be making trines to Jupiter in your 12th. And what I noted here is things are changing on the home front, Taurus. You need to have faith. You got to have a little faith, because Jupiter's in your 12th house right now, and it can have you feeling kind of moody. Part of it's because you're ready to go, but you're not really seeing that physical movement yet. And when you're having trines from your 4th to your 12th, these are, even though it's happening in a fire sign, these are water type energy houses. So there needs to be endings that are happening, you know, wrapping things up within the home, clearing things out, setting intentions for where you want to live. Leo deals with children too, so there can be lots of stuff going on here where the home life is kind of affected by kids. So just be mindful that, yes, change is coming. It's okay to be emotional during this lunar cycle. A lot of this is really having you focus more on being in touch with your emotions, being in touch with your family in some capacity. And I think with the trine to Jupiter in your 12th, it's really saying that you have a lot of support that's coming in for you right now from spirit. So meditating, praying, connecting to a faith or a spiritual practice is really important. Even if that's meditating, for some of you guys, it can be like working out and fitness. It sounds kind of weird, but Aries does deal with that to help kind of clear your mind and better deal with your moods. So the card that I get for you is the Moon. So it's bringing your attention not just to Leo, but also to Cancer. So Taurus, you've had a lot of placements moving through the sign of Cancer in this last week or two. There was a Cazimi there. Some of you guys are possibly thinking about moving, and you're trying to kind of put things together and figuring out how you could do it, how that would, actually happen and take place. Where would you go? The Moon is saying that likely there's going to be something that's going to be revealed to you that you did not know and that you were not aware of. It's telling you to pay attention to your intuition, to your dreams. It may take also, similar to Aries, until this full moon for this to be revealed to you. But for the most part, this is saying also your dreams. And so I wonder if your dreams are a little bit more active right now, or your hunches are a little bit stronger. Listen to those, because they're going to help guide you. For Gemini and Gemini rising, you have got the new moon that's taking place in Leo in your natal 3rd house, which deals with short distance trips, siblings, your local neighborhood, things that you're learning, language, gadgets, things like that. And it's going to be making trines to Jupiter in your 11th house. So what I have noted here for you is that it's important to change your mind to be able to better change the world. When in doubt, call a friend in need. So I'm looking at that Jupiter in your 11th house. I'm thinking that there's lots of opportunity from friends. Friends are willing to talk to you, connect, and help you network if this is something that's important. You might get some really good advice from a friend, or you might be giving that to a friend. But new moons in the 3rd can have you setting new intentions about, well, what do I want to study? Where do I want to travel? Do I want to get a new car? If you're looking for a new vehicle, or if you're looking to plan a trip, there might be help that comes from a friend to help you facilitate that. I feel like there's going to be lots of positive conversations and communication. So if you are planning a get-together with a group of friends, or if you are trying to start up like a networking group or anything of that nature, there's going to be a lot of support that's coming. But this new moon wants you to get in a very optimistic state of mind. It wants you to speak with passion and share your own personal talents when it comes to communication. The card that I get is the 3 of Coins. So this is working hard with other people, bringing other people in on this to be able to make magic happen, getting a lot of work done. So there can be like contracts and negotiations and meetings and talking about money or resources. But also you're going to start to actually see things come together. So really wonderful for you, Gemini. Now we have Cancer and Cancer rising. You've got a new moon going on here. It is in your natal 2nd house, and that is going to deal with your spending power, money, resources. And personally, I think that with the trines to Jupiter in your 10th house, holy cow. Now is the time to invest in yourself, focus on your talents, your values. You may have to spend a little bit of money or come up with some money to be able to expand something professionally. So I think like, your expenses, right? So I could see like the sun and the moon going through the 2nd house, and you're like, I need to be bringing more money in, and I might have to be spending money. And then it's going to come into that opposition with Saturn later in this next month. And I feel like it's you kind of realizing like you might have to take out a loan to bankroll something that you're going to be starting. Now, Jupiter in your 10th house is so positive for you, Cancer. It's giving you the opportunity to start your own business, to travel more, to make more money. You may have to play hardball a little bit and negotiate something with someone to make sure that you're getting, your money's worth, or you're getting paid what you feel like you are worth. But like I said, investing in yourself, because Leo is very much about your own talents, and it's about what you bring to the table, and it's about your artistic abilities. So when it's in the 2nd house, it's making sure that you're getting paid for that. So invest in yourself, really focus on self-esteem, and let's see what the cards have to say for you, Cancer. The card that I get is the Sun. So it is saying that it is bringing you more opportunities to show these talents, lots of expansion in your career. You're going to have more money coming in, but you're going to be super proud of what you've accomplished, or the fact that you landed a big job, a big paycheck, a big payout, something like that. But I also feel like this is about a sense of you really, truly knowing how valuable you are and what you bring to the table for other people, and really being super proud of your accomplishments. So good on you, Cancer. Let me know how that plays out. You're setting the stage also for just financial stuff really for the rest of the year. So it's important if you want to do any manifestation work around money, now is the time to do it. For Leo and Leo rising, well, this is your show, baby. So you've got a new moon taking place in your sign. If you're a Leo rising, it's in your first house. It's about your body, your appearance. And it's also about really realizing that it's important to make yourself stable, because what you're seeing is that there are challenges to relationships with other people. You'll face off with some of these challenges throughout this next month. It's been going on for a while. Godspeed. But just know that a new moon in your sign is an opportunity to wipe the slate clean. So if you are separating from someone, going through a breakup, a friend breakup, if you're feeling like you just need some space and you need to focus on yourself, your body, your health, your appearance, this is the time to do that. Now it's forming trines to Jupiter that's in your ninth house. Jupiter loves being in the ninth house. You're experiencing a really strong fire trine. It's beneficial for you because it's in a sister sign. The truth is, Leo, that the sky's the limit. You know, faith is everything. It will take you to far away places, literally or figuratively. So the more that you're focusing on yourself, you're learning about yourself, you're learning what makes you happy, the more it's expanding your faith. Maybe it's making you a little travel hungry and you're feeling like, you know what, I just need to book a trip and go somewhere. I could see that materializing over the next month ahead. But I think that it's important that you're focusing on being okay on your own and what makes you happy. Because in order to make yourself happy, you're going to find that there's going to be some challenges and some sacrifices that have to be made both professionally in this next month as well as within your relationship. So let's see what the cards have to say for you. The Emperor, you're bossing up. This is about you being like, no, it's not about other people right now. It's about me. What is my goal? What is my vision? What am I taking responsibility for? What am I initiating, right? So this is like bossing up. Sometimes that means you have to say no, or you have to have boundaries with people. Sometimes that means that you have to lead by example, or that you're becoming more of an authority figure in your own life. Wonderful for career stuff. This is mentioning Mars though, okay? So you have Mars and Uranus getting ready to meet in your natal 10th house, which means there can be some sacrifices or some changes, or we're kind of having a bit of like a moment where you go toe to toe with an authority figure or a boss in order to really kind of come out the other end on top. So looks like you're going to handle that well. Now we've got Virgo and Virgo rising. This is going to be a new moon in Leo. It's taking place in your 12th house. The 12th house is hidden, it's subconscious. As we're getting into Leo season, you're preparing for your birthday. So whenever we are 12 signs to your sun, there is kind of like a cosmic clearing. You kind of feel the need to get quiet and to retreat a little bit. So new moons can have you feeling like you're bugging out. You really want to spend more time by yourself to reflect. Now, it will be making trines to Jupiter in your 8th house, which is in the sign of Aries. And it's important right now for you to tap into your healing abilities. It's important for you to tap into your inner child. There's healing there. It's very similar to what I was saying for Taurus. This is happening in kind of water houses for you. So we're seeing aspects between the 12th and the 8th. These are also known as like ending houses. So I feel like for you, you're wrapping up the storyline of where you've been hurt in the past, especially in romantic relationships. Maybe you're becoming aware of some of your own inner talents and the need to nurture those talents. I think it's wonderful because it can give you the opportunity to focus on a new spiritual routine. On the flip side, it can also highlight where you're hiding out and you're hiding your talents, or you're not willing to connect with romantic partners, or you're not allowing yourself to really let yourself shine. So with the trines to Jupiter in your 8th house, there is a need to do that deep-seated healing, figure out why you haven't been feeling supported in the past, where you've been hurt, so you can bring all of that out into the open. And if you're willing to do that work, there will be healing, deep, profound healing for you. One other thing I would say is with the new moon here, and the fact that, you know, Venus will be there soon, eventually, there is opportunities for both romantic relationships behind the scenes, right? You have that opportunity with Leo being in your 12th, but also it can be about ending. So you could be ending things and clearing things out. The card that I get is the King of Swords. So this is about you really stepping up to the plate and communicating and being direct. And I would say that now that, you know, we're getting ready here to start seeing Mercury come into your sign in this next month, things that you've been thinking about, things that you've been writing, things that you've been focusing on, it might be mentally stressful. You might be feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of bugging out. Like, you don't want to pick up the phone. You don't want people to reach out to you. You're going to be put in a position where you have to speak up. okay? You're going to have to speak up and you're going to have to communicate. And the King of Swords does not have a problem doing that. He really tells people how things are, you know, he doesn't mince words, he's very direct, and he really focuses on getting his point across in a strong way. So I feel like it's about taking your ideas and what you've been thinking about and like really putting it out into the open and telling people what's up. But this is after you've done the healing process, after you've worked through whatever's been bothering, after you sat on it, meditated on it a little bit, and then you decide that you want to step up to the plate and tell people what is on your mind. Look for support that might be coming from an air sign. So it can be a Gemini, it can be a Libra, it can be an Aquarius that can help push this along. For Libra, Libra rising, you have got a new moon in Leo taking place in your natal 11th house. So your 11th house deals with your goals, your friendships, it deals with networking, socializing, and all the good stuff. And it's going to be making trines to Jupiter in Aries, which is in your natal 7th house of relationships. Libra, new connections present new exposure and support. Lots of opportunity to kind of collaborate with other people. This is that period of the year where you see lots of planets going through the 11th house. So it's about going to parties, going to networking events, hanging out with your friends, having a good time, right? And some of your goals really coming into fruition. I believe you can get lots of support from other people. You might be noticing that other people are talking about what you're doing or they're sharing your ideas. You have support both professionally and romantically. Good news for romantic relationships. So if you're partnered or if you're married, I could see that Jupiter in your 7th house kind of really making those trines to your 11th house could be that a partner is giving you a lot of support. They're talking highly of you. A business partner is helping you meet other people. And there might be events and things that you have to go to, but it really benefits other people as well. And if you work with a business partner or if you work with your spouse, to me, it seems like you guys are starting to kind of realize like, wow, look at what we've created. We're having a lot of fun. Like we have a lot to be thankful for. Okay, so let's take a look at what the cards say for you. The card that I get is the Knight of Coins. So this is about you realizing that there's new opportunities on the way. And I think that it could be financially related, right? The Knight of Coins deals with like a message that's coming, somebody who's bringing you a new opportunity, possibly to work together. Look for an earth sign. So it could be a Taurus or it could be a Capricorn or a Virgo that kind of steps in. This could also be news that there's an opportunity to make money working with a group of people. And you might be bringing your partner in on that or your business partner in on that and might be talking to them about what it is that you're willing to do for this group. So maybe you're working for a board or a panel. Maybe you get asked to go and work with a group of people and it looks like it could be financially rewarding, Libra. For Scorpio and Scorpio rising, you have a new moon in Leo taking place in your 10th house of career. So this is big, Scorpio. If you're wanting to make boss moves, if you're wanting to set the stage for more success when it comes to your career, this is the time to do it. We are seeing that there are trines to Jupiter in your 6th house. It's kind of a mixed bag because all of the fixed sun, moon, and rising signs, they're going to feel that there's sweet and salty aspects for the next month ahead. There's going to be some things that you win, some things that you lose. You're going to have to make sacrifices. But the good news is that if you are focusing on setting new career goals, trying to get a new job, trying to get a raise, trying to start a business, launch a business, it is kind of indicating that this is coming. Now it's making trines to Jupiter in your 6th house, which tells me that you might have been feeling like there's some delays in really seeing things pick up. But because Jupiter is stationing, I think it's strong. Now Jupiter rules your 2nd house of money, and because it's in the 6th, it's saying you're taking charge of something. Maybe you have to hire people. Maybe you have to bring in an assistant or staff in order to get all this work done. It will require lots of busy work, lots of labor. So it could be that you're working more than usual, but you're setting career goals, and it's really important with Jupiter in your 6th house that you realize your success comes from being a part of a charitable cause, doing something that's for bettering the world and helping other people and helping individuals. When you do that, when you align with that, you will find that like the floodgates open and then all of a sudden everything expands. Likely there's going to be positive health changes or positive scheduling changes that are going to be happening as well, because that new moon's going to trine Jupiter in the 6th. You're investing more in your schedule, you're investing more in your health, and you're realizing that it's time for you to start start taking control. So to me, it looks like you're in the driver's seat, even though you're going to see that the planets that are moving through your 10th house, Scorpio, which is all about your career, will oppose Saturn. So there's going to be limitation. There's going to be family needing you. There's going to be domestic issues. You're going to have something going on with your home. Maybe you're like, okay, it's the top part of my career right now. I'm super busy, but I got to move. I got to sell my house, or, you know, my kids need me. You're going to see something in this next month that's going to happen like that. And it's going to square the South Node in your sign. So you're going to have a little bit of an ego blow. There's going to be a sense of you being like, oh, I have to make a change. I don't want to change. So roll with the punches. I promise you it's going to be for the better. The card that I got is the Two of Swords, totally mirroring that aspect of the Saturn opposition that's building for you in your 4th house. It makes me feel like you have to make a decision. And to me, it seems like you're stressed about this decision. Like, oh my God, do I launch this business? Is it going to work? Like, do I stay in my job or do I do my own thing? Do I stay here or do I move? Don't take too long going back and forth. Time is of the essence. You don't want to wait until things happen that push you into forward motion. We're going to see this for everybody this year, especially in this next month. Events are going to come up where you have to make a choice, and it's better to get with the change before you have some like unexpected event that takes place. So don't take too long deliberating and going back and forth. Okay, so we've got Sag and Sag rising. You've got a new moon that's taking place in Leo. This is in your natal 9th house. It's in a fellow fire sign. So it's feisty. You're experiencing the fire trines between Jupiter as well as planets in Leo and your sign. So I think Sag is going to be just like on fire. You're going to see that it's making a trine to Jupiter in your natal 5th house. So we've got the new moon in the 9th. I think it's important for you, Sag, right now to be focusing on education. Whether you're educating others, you're educating yourself. Doing so will expand the heart, and vacations are near, right? Possibly with somebody who you're in love with or something romantic. Maybe you're focusing on publishing. Maybe you're focusing on teaching. Maybe you just want to be able to have a good time and go on a trip with your loved one. I think that's very possible with Jupiter in the 5th. You might be focused on not just planning in terms of traveling, but if you have children, Jupiter in your 5th house is like, okay, we're planning to have kids, or we're planning a trip with children, or we're planning a birthday party. You might be more invested also in your kids' education. If you don't have kids, it's going to be more, what am I learning? What do I enjoy learning? There might be a hobby that pops up and you want to learn more about that, or you're teaching other people. Regardless, there's an expansion going on for you right now, Sag, of the heart, and you can be feeling like you're falling in love with something because Jupiter's in your 5th house. Now, some Sagittariuses are pregnant. Some of you guys are focusing on your own business. Regardless, there is a birthing process happening, and I could see with the new moon in your 9th that there is a possibility that you have to be filing paperwork, you have to be learning about the legal process, you have to be able to get something like legitimized, or you have to get like a what's the word that I'm looking for? Like something legal, because the 9th house is legal, right? And the sun is about self-employment. So if you need to get something signed, notarized, if you have to talk to an attorney, if you have to incorporate, these are all things that could be coming up for you in the month ahead. See what the cards say. And I get the King of Coins. So that's a great card, Sag. This is about bossing up. This is about making more money, expanding business, and possibly kind of really becoming more knowledgeable about being self-employed, teaching yourself more about money and resources, investments, maybe even taxes, paying other people, which is really positive. It's kind of interesting that this is a fire trine and you get the King of Coins. So if it's not that, it could be about you just getting more grounded in your beliefs, getting more grounded in what it is that you're doing in terms of your life purpose. You could be spending more money when it comes to legal or possibly even travel as well. And this can be bringing you money under some of these themes. So going back to school, finishing a degree, writing a book, launching it, publishing it, lecturing, stuff like that. King of Coins can be an earth sign. So look for like a Taurus or a Virgo or a Capricorn that can pop up, that can help you. This can be somebody who gives you some kind of advice and helps you with the process of becoming more better grounded, I think, in anything in regards to these 9th house topics. For Cap and Cap rising, what's going on, Capricorn? you've got a new moon in Leo taking place in your 8th house. So that is sexy, secretive. It is transformational. It is a house that is more private, but it's ruled by Leo. So it's really bright. And I think that with trines to Jupiter in your natal 4th house of Aries, you're healing the heart, healing the past, opening up to home transformations, new resources, and more support. I think you're really expanding when it comes to intimacy, right? So Leo deals with romance, 8th house deals with merger and sex, and it can also deal with investments. But I think with the new moon in your 8th house, you're really asking yourself, where can I bring in more? Where can I bring in more romance, more creativity? Where can I channel that? How can I be more in tune with that? How can I expand my sex life, my love life? How am I taking a look at my investments or my taxes? It is happening in water houses. Even though it's in fire signs, it's in water houses. So the 8th house is other people's resources and kind of karmic entanglement. And the 4th house deals with home and family. So I wonder, are some of you guys having to deal with estate issues? Are you dealing with inheritances, tax stuff, anything in regards to like tax payouts or things that are owed to you? And is that going to be coming up in this next month ahead? Keep in mind, you're going to have that full moon that's going to be in your 2nd house that will be in Aquarius next month. And I do feel like it's about you really going, no, I need this. You need to pay me back, or, you know, I need the money because I need to pay something. So there can be this like exchange theme that's coming up. Now, if it's not financial, like I said, healing the heart, healing the inner child, healing the past because of the trines to Jupiter in your 4th house. So maybe if you're asking yourself, why am I not in a relationship? Why have I not been open? What has happened in the past that's kind of blocked me off from love? Open up to it. Also be open to home changes, because I could see that this new moon trine Jupiter in the 4th is giving you the opportunity to possibly look at your resources and make some changes or transformations to where you're living, whether that's a renovation, whether that's like going through a separation, getting spousal support, getting money back, so that way you can kind of start your own life. There is a bit of sweet and salty to the 8th house. The card that I get is the Garden in this deck. It's the World. So it's saying everything is completing. Cycles are completing. If you've been waiting for something to come in, if you've been waiting to get reimbursed for something, to get a refund, to get your monies paid back, or maybe to get something that's been owed to you, it's all cycling out. This is very karmic. You're completing this cycle. So I think it's also about realizing what your worth is and not accepting anything less than that. This is a very positive card. It tells me that you're overcoming what has been a very difficult karmic period. For Aquarius and Aquarius rising, we've got a new moon in Leo taking place in your 7th house of relationships. So positive times. If you have been having a rocky bit with relationships, you can hit restart. If you are looking to reconnect and go deeper with a partner and kind of just clear the air, you can do that. If you're wanting to get back into the dating game, you can do that. If you're wanting to manifest new relationships, new friendships, new counselors, partners, anything like that, that's what we do with a new moon in the 7th. It's going to be trining Jupiter in your 3rd, and I feel like that's really opening up the flow of communication with other people, communication that you initiate, right? So if you have to clear the air with a friend because Aries is in your 3rd, Aquarius is in your 7th, if you have to be bold and communicate and approach somebody or ask them if they want to work with you or ask them out to dinner, this is really great energy. I think also for you, it's just not just giving you a fresh start in relationships, it's teaching you that you can partner with people. All you have to do is ask. You have to pick up the phone, write a letter, send a text message, and be bold in your communication style, even if that means that you have to try a little bit. You have to keep trying, or maybe you're wanting to connect with somebody over the internet with the 3rd to the 7th. Maybe you're wanting to talk to somebody about initiating a new course or learning a new language. It's just about how you're communicating with other people. And I would say be bold, take those steps forward to say, hey, do you want to hang out? Do you want to be my friend? Do you want to work together? Or can we talk about it? Doing so is really going to help you move out of these issues that you've had in relationships, especially because Saturn's in your sign right now. And I know that you feel like the Lone Ranger with all the squares going on, but the truth is that Leo season is really going to show you who's worth fighting for, who's worth working things out with, and who is on your team, okay? So let's see what the cards say for you for this new moon in Leo. The card that I get is the 6 of Coins. It's worth working for, you know, it's worth working things out, or it's worth salvaging a relationship or a friendship, or maybe it's worth saying, hey, what can we do together? What can we build together? What can we do to better support one another? There's a give and take to the 6 of Coins. It does talk about the ability to kind of balance out the scales and find the middle ground, but also make headway when it comes to stability or finances. So 2 might be better than 1. And last but not least, we got the Pisces. Pisces, you have a new moon in Leo taking place in your natal 6th house. The 6th house deals with health and wellness. It deals with your daily routine, your office space, your coworkers, your pets, your to-do list. So if you have been feeling like you haven't been able to get anything done, if you haven't had support, if you've been feeling like you need to hit the gym, see a doctor, what have you. But Leo's your 6th house. So really, it's making me wonder, are you making time to have fun, Pisces? Are you feeling like you need support in that area? We see trines to Jupiter in the 2nd. So if you guys have been experiencing some health issues, you're going to be making positive changes in your diet. So likely help is on the way. There's going to be changes in your routine. Healers can arrive as well, especially with Jupiter, your chart lord, sitting in the 6th house. I think it's going to give you, sitting in the 2nd house, making trines to the 6th house. It's going to give you the opportunity to reinvest in yourself and be reinvesting in what you're doing in your day-to-day routine, whether that's how you're eating or just how you're feeling. So if you have been having health problems, if you have been having delays at work, I kind of feel like there is a possibility to bring people in. Maybe you have the budget now to say, I can go and see a specialist, or now I can spend a little bit more money and I can hire an assistant, or I can get a gym membership. Super positive with aspects to the 2nd house. So let's take a look at what's going on here. So just keep in mind you're setting intentions around making time for a healthier schedule, making time for playtime. You have to make that time. Can't be all work and no play. All right, so what does the card say for Pisces? Strength card. So awesome. This is Leo energy. Sun going through your 6th is highlighting the need to sometimes take time off and focus on, healing yourself, or what brings you happiness, what brings you joy. Strength is about emotional strength, not just physical strength. So maybe you're finding that some of your strengths are being able to build yourself up emotionally before you can see those physical changes. For some of you guys, it can be focusing on the strength of like the back, because that's what Leo rules. So it can be the back, and strengthening that and feeling that maybe you're feeling stronger in like what you can physically accomplish, what you can carry, what you can pick up. I think the strength card is also reminding you that you're only as strong as you believe you are, right? Jupiter in the 2nd house. You got to believe that you're capable. You got to believe that you can be more independent, that you can bring in more money, more resources, but it doesn't mean that you have to do it by yourself. So there's a lot that's changing for you in terms of your emotional strength right now, okay? For the most part, it's good. I mean, I feel like for everybody, they're like I said, you're going to see when we get to the full moon, that's going to be happening around mid-August, that there are sacrifices that have to be made to fulfill whatever it is that you are setting in terms of intentions with this moon. So it's going to be uncomfortable, but that's how change is, right? So stay optimistic, work with this energy. I'm loving it. Let me know, where is this new moon taking place in your chart? How are you feeling with it? Are you already starting to feel the sparkles with Mercury coming into a trine with Jupiter? Look for those bright ideas leading all the way up to the new moon, and then you're going to take your action, guys. I will see all of you very soon. Enjoy this lunation. Take care.